and this is Power Play, and I am Chris Stirewalt. And I know you'll have fun because Penny Lee is here. Penny Lee, as you know, is a principal at Venn Strategies. I know that that's true. I know also that she's a former advisor to Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid and other very important Democrats. She is a big deal, but more importantly, she is a nice person and patriotic. Ford O'Connell, he is the chairman of the Civic Forum PAC, which is another way of saying that he is a Republican strategist. He also happens to have worked for the McCain campaign and a lot of other things. That makes him a pretty big deal, and also patriotic and also good people. So, all those things having been stipulated. Republicans really do not like Jack Lew. They really, 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 really do not. And Penny, the next thing, Jeff Sessions used to be a prosecutor down in Alabama, yes. And he's good at being mean. And the next thing is there's a law that says the president, if Medicare is in the red zone, that the president has to, by law, offer a solution. It's a silly thing, probably, but George W. Bush did it. Obama has not done it. Sessions' latest thing is he's going to block. He's going to block Lew on these grounds that unless the president coughs up a proposed solution for insolvency in Medicare and basically sends a note of apology, that he will hold up Lew. Is Jack Lew going to be confirmed? What's your guess?
My guess is absolutely Jack Lew is going to be confirmed. The numbers are on his side. There's 55 Democrats.
Yeah.
They have a lot of Democrats, 5 more needed. Probably if they do a filibuster. It's very rare, though, on these kind of key appointments that they actually do filibuster on things like that or actually ask for the 60-vote threshold. Usually these are given on an up and down measure, and so therefore I do believe Jack Lew is going to be confirmed. Will there be some consternation beforehand? Will there be some theatrics? Will there be some last-minute negotiations and deals and likely something being offered on Medicare to show that it is going to be insolvent for a long time? Yes. That is the nature of Washington, and that is what we're seeing on the other nominations as well, is some of the theatrics that oftentimes go after it so that a senator can prove a point and go back to their local constituents and say, I was tough.
Yeah, but this one, there's a little difference here, though, Ford, don't you think? Just because that the president, this is an unconventional choice for Treasury Secretary, right?
Well, it is. Not often does a cool-headed guy like Jeff Sessions, foam at the mouth. Right now, his banner's up, and for good reason. They see this as Republicans see this as an antagonistic, ideological pick that basically says you have no intention of cutting spending. And this is really the heart of the debate. And what I think we're going to see here, as the hearing drags out, is really the difference on where Republicans and Democrats are on fiscal policy. Republicans think we need to get the debt under control and we need to bring certainty to the private sector. And Democrats seem to believe that spending isn't an issue and that we can tax, spend, and regulate ourselves to prosperity by focusing on the public sector. And I think that's what's going to come forth out of this.
So, Penny, the norm for a Treasury Secretary nominee is somebody more in the mold of Tim Geithner, who was president of the New York Federal Reserve before he came down for the show, or before that, the Hank Paulson, a great eminence of the firm Goldman Sachs. You may have heard of that. But generally, these are Wall Street people, bankers, money guys, in the mold of Alexander Hamilton, our first Treasury Secretary. Jack Lew is not that, though.
He isn't. He is more of an academic. He is more on the fiscal matters, more on the budgetary side, OMB, those kind of more bureaucratic positions. He hasn't had, other than his short stint at Citigroup, which I think will also be illuminated during these hearings as well, as there's some questions.
He did have a nice layover in New York.
He did have a nice little layover and a golden parachute on the way out for his very short career there.
From shorting the subprime mortgage market.
It's a process.
But it was an interesting pick by the president because it did break the mold and it didn't stay within what the larger kind of macro monetary issues. And he's going with somebody that knows the wheelings and dealings of Congress and really on a micro level as to the pieces of the budget. So that it's going to be interesting to see how he does play because he does need to play nice. There's going to be some huge issues coming up.
Well, and I think that's one of the huge concerns on the Republican side. It's not about protecting Wall Street. It's understanding how the private sector works in the sense that Republicans truly believe that the best way to get back to prosperity is by growing the private sector.
Big Vinny 323. I don't know why you need the 323. Like, aren't there? Are there that many Big Vinnies in the chat? This is what I don't know.
Could be
with
from
you,
New Jersey.
right? Exactly. Maybe you got a big block. I don't know. But Jack or Tim, what's the difference? And they have outlined some of this in their discussion here, Big Vinny. But there's also this. This is a sign that the president is more interested in fiscal issues, because if you think back to what Jack Lew was the head of the Office of Management and Budget, the Green Eyeshade Brigade, in the Clinton administration. He's that guy. He's not, as Penny said it fancy, she said macroeconomic. This is a sign from the president. Tim Geithner was focused on keeping banks open and stuff like complicated stuff like that. What the Lew pick, Penny, tells us is that the president is ready for grueling 3-month cyclical, awful fiscal battles with the Republicans for the next 2 years.
Well, and there's also concern because one of the other things that the Treasury Secretary must do is also, and I think Tim Geithner actually has been very good at, is calming the world markets and being an integral part in kind of thinking of some creative things outside the box.
Getting Merkel off the ledge.
To help Merkel, to help
Right.
others, as we are now in this global economy. And so there are questions, legitimate questions about Jack Lew's experience to be able to calm the global markets as well.
Power Play said it before. We will say it again. This stands to be, unless Chuck Hagel turns out that he really has some problems in his non-disclosures, that this stands to be the toughest confirmation fight of them all. Mark my words. I said it. And I also say this. Should you be so lucky, Internet, in your life to ever get to spend time with two people this nice, can you imagine getting to go to a dinner party or something with these two people? You'd be thrilled. You would just be thrilled. So
Big Vinny.
So Big Vinny, consider yourself lucky. That's the deal. And I only say that because you're not here.